Okay, let's get a check now of what's happening in the world of business. So we're joined by our business editor, Kate Moody. Hi there, Kate.
Hi.
Now, it's been a week since those horrific scenes at the Capitol building in Washington, and yet every day brings more fallout from those events as far as at least the Republicans and the Trump administration is concerned.
Yeah, and a lot of this coming up from the tech industry because there's been a real spotlight on what role social media platforms and online platforms may have played in spreading these messages. Google now the latest to take action, saying that it'll be suspending all political ads for at least the next week until after Joe Biden's inauguration. The move will affect all ads that reference last week's violence on Capitol Hill, the impeachment vote of Donald Trump, or protests in general across the United States, because they could be used to, quote, exploit the event or amplify misleading information surrounding it. That's according to a statement that Google sent to its advertisers. Earlier, YouTube, which is also owned by Google's parent company Alphabet, became the latest platform to suspend Donald Trump's account following earlier moves by Twitter and Facebook. YouTube stopping new videos from being uploaded to the outgoing U.S. president's channel over concerns about the potential for violence. It's also disabled comments on his videos indefinitely, the site describing this as a first strike for violating its user policies. Well, meanwhile, demand for alternatives to the Facebook-owned messaging service WhatsApp have soared in the past few days after it announced a new privacy policy. Georgina Robertson has the story.
It's the biggest name in instant messaging. WhatsApp has over 2 billion users worldwide. They're now facing new terms and conditions, which will see information on transactions or payments shared with Facebook as of next month. Users outside the European Union must accept the terms to continue using the service. For some, these changes have raised questions about privacy, and other messaging apps have seen a surge in downloads as users seek alternatives. Two rival messaging services have seen a boost in the week following WhatsApp's announcement. Signal saw downloads rise by over 3,500% compared to the previous week, while Telegram's downloads were up by around 180%. Meanwhile, WhatsApp's figures were down by 14%. WhatsApp says that changes do not compromise their users' privacy. In a blog post, they have insisted that WhatsApp or Facebook cannot see your private messages or hear your calls. They do not keep logs of who users are messaging or calling, and they cannot share your contacts or see your shared location. The jump in users of alternative messaging services has raised questions about whether or not these smaller systems have the capacity to cope with the scale of increased traffic. One rival, Telegram, has just passed the milestone of 500 million users, a quarter of the number on WhatsApp.
Let's check in on the day's trading action now. A mixed close for the major European indices. The FTSE 100 lower in London. The CAC 40 and DAX each slightly above the flat line at the close. Shares of French retailer Carrefour surged over 13% after Canada's Alimentation Couche-Tard said it had opened merger talks. Wall Street has been struggling for direction throughout the session, although we're seeing stocks turning higher in the last hour or so of trading. The tech-heavy Nasdaq up about 0.6% with less than an hour of trade to go. Investors are keeping a close eye on those proceedings on Capitol Hill. They'll also be switching their focus then to the next round of coronavirus stimulus. Details of the incoming Biden administration's plans to boost the U.S. economy are expected to be unveiled tomorrow. The European Central Bank believes the EU economy will rebound in 2021, even though a number of the bloc's economies are reimposing lockdowns to control the spread of COVID-19. The ECB's latest forecast sees growth of 3.9% this year after shrinking 7.3% in 2020. ECB President Christine Lagarde told Reuters that the recovery was still on track as long as member states push ahead with the vaccination program and ease restrictions by the spring.
Whether you look at Germany, at Belgium, at Austria, at Spain, at the Netherlands, at France possibly, that are deciding one after the other extended lockdown measures, probably for some countries into February, for some possibly into March. Our forecast is predicated on lockdown measures until the end of the first quarter. So what would be a concern would be if after the end of March, those member states need to continue having lockdown measures.
Well, as the business world adapts to Brexit, one of the sectors hardest hit by the changes is fishing and fish processing. While French importers have long been accustomed to next-day deliveries from the UK, new regulations are making that much more difficult. Cole Stangler reports.
A supply chain riddled with uncertainty. Before Brexit, fish caught here in the UK could make it easily to France the next day. But importers across the Channel say they can't count on it anymore. This seafood wholesaler in Boulogne-sur-Mer is dealing with hefty delays for its imports, thanks to customs controls and a slate of new paperwork. While the new UK-EU trade deal has an entire section devoted to fishing rights, it also means there's more red tape when it comes to trade.
On a évolué sur des logistiques complètement extraordinaires, hein. Des livraisons lundi pour mercredi, lundi pour jeudi, voire lundi pour vendredi, selon les fournisseurs. Donc ça a été tout à fait chaotique.
Another importer says some deliveries have been held up because the formal Latin names for fish were incorrect. While another issue driving delays at French customs is the lack of proper health certificates on British shipments.
Et oui, dans l'avenir, très prochainement, il va y avoir des blocages. Et par exemple, un manque de certificat sanitaire. On en a eu un hier, lui a fait l'objet d'un refus.
As the industry adapts, the cost could fall most heavily on the UK. Of the country's total catch in 2019, nearly half was exported to the EU.
That's all for now, Tom.
Thank you very much indeed. Kate Moody, our business editor. Thanks so much. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go away.